Alright you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper and today I'm going to teach you how to dry your boots when they are wet. But before we start, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and look into the description for my book called Bloody Crosses. It's in Dutch, it's a detective story, so take a look. So, when you're going on a hike, your boots will get wet by either sweat from your feet, you will step into mud, you will step into rivers, creeks, or just by rain, mist, snow. These are all factors that could make your boots wet from the inside, and that's not fun. Because yeah, if you are on a prolonged journey with a hiking or a bug out scenario, you don't want to walk around with wet boots, and yeah, that could cause trench feet and other fungus that you don't want, and it's not good for because your feet will get soggy and the skin will break a little bit apart, and they will be more susceptible to yeah, infections. So keep your feet dry by regularly changing your socks. Oh, it was the wind. Oh, there we are. So where were we? Oh yeah. Um, so like I said, just if you're on a hike or a bug out, regularly change the socks. So extra pairs of socks are a must. So always have one pair of socks at hand. Always the socks that you wore, dry them out by hanging them on your bug out bag, and that's you keep them rotating. But what if your feet get really wet? So like you stepped into mud or a river, or you're just soaking wet by the rain. So what do you do then? Well, what I would do is, yeah, first of all, some people say, and they do this in American military, I think, is have an extra pair of boots. But yeah, that take a lot of place in with your how do you say this, with your bug out bag. So how do you dry your boots with if you only have one pair? Well, the thing what I prefer to do is just plant a stick in the ground and hang your boots like this. And you would wonder, why would you do that? Why don't you just take your boot, place it like that, and let it damp out so it will dry. The problem with that is, I want as less as possible a connection to the ground. Why? Because of insects. If you put a warm and moist with some nutrients like skin, perhaps like skin cells, residues, and mites in your boots, some insects find that attractive, and you don't want that. So that's why I prefer to have only the stick as connection to the ground, and there is less chance that some crawlies will get in, especially if you're in other areas where there are snakes or scorpions or some small rodents that will find the inside of your boot as a nice cover to hide in or to sleep in. So yeah, that's what I prefer it that way. So to reduce the chance that little crawlies will get into your booties. So another thing that I prefer about this is, by instead of letting it go like that, if I place it like that on the stick, uh, whatever is inside in the front will go up, and the wind will be able to blow to the side. And if there is a little bit of rain, because you cannot always find enough shelter, or you don't have enough place in your shelter, so when the rain falls, it will fall on top of this and it will not fall into your boots. That's another reason why many people would say, yeah, why don't you take your boots inside of your tent or your cover or your shelter? Well, it could be a little bit smelly, to be honest, and yeah, it's you could perhaps do that, but I prefer to do it this way. Like I said, the wind will blow to the sides inside of this without as much with less connection to the ground. So another thing you can do is, if you have a shamak, perhaps you can take your shamak and you can put it inside of your boot. Why? Because this is made out of cotton, and that will absorb a lot of the moisture. So you put it all the way in to the tip In fact, you cover. It's like you put a whole foot inside of this, and what you do then is, if you don't mind that, this way, the shamak will take up all the moisture that is inside of your boot and inside the fabric of the boot, and it will slurp it up, and that way you can reduce a lot of the moisture inside of it. And if you have done this for an hour or two, you can just take it out, and there is one side that is still dry from hanging outside, and you can just repeat the process even more. If you put it in this, and this side that is still outside, that is wet from the first time you put it in, is now drying, and that way you can turn and repeat it till your boot is dry. So that's another solution that way. And another benefit of this is, if you put this in a whole shamak inside of your boot, there is no room for little crawly insects or rodents to get inside of your boots, or snakes. So the same thing you can do with a handkerchief. You can use perhaps an extra pair of socks that you are going that you're not going to use anyway. Put the socks inside of it instead of a shamak. So those are things that you can do also to dry your boots. And what some people say, but this is something that I don't like, is they say take a rock and heat it up next to the fire. Don't make it as warm that it will start to to burn the inside of your boots, but take heated socks and place them inside of your boot, and the heat from the sock will push out the moisture out of your boot. But that's something that I don't like, because first of all, I don't want to burn the inside of my shoes, or taking at least the risk. Another thing that I don't like is a lot of rocks that I would have put in this are breaking off, and I don't want to get small rocks or pebbles inside of my shoes. Especially, and don't make the mistake, for the love of God, if you are going to place a heated rock inside of your boot, don't take rocks that have been in moisture a lot of time, because if they get heated, and the water inside of the stones will expand, make it crack, and sometimes they can even explode. So yeah, if you don't want one pebble inside of your boot, don't take a wet pebble that is heated and will explode inside of your shoes, and you will have 20 pebbles inside of your shoes. So yeah, that's another thing you can do. And yeah, these are the options to have dry boots during your bug out or your hiking. So I hope this helped. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and see you in the next video. Cheers.